Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. And yeah, so sorry that this series is coming back late. I was quite busy for some time. So, without talking too much, we will start from where we left off. So, the next thing is let me show you the video itself and show you where the scene will. So, from here, this scene right here, and this thing is what we will be discussing today. And let me quickly take this out of the screen. Yeah, so this is the scene. So I've been talking about some things like material. So this will be majorly focused on the animation and maybe the lighting, because the materials and everything still stays the same. Oh, I'll talk about the material for the glass. So I think that's basically it. So for the animation, you see that this is from the previous scene, whereby we have the handle of the glasses straightening and getting to position. Then after that, we have this lens coming out and to show everything. So basically, what I used here for this lens is just basically this. You will see this is how lens is actually arranged. There are different types of lenses. I don't want to go into the details today. So this was an idea that I got from Derek's video, I think from a while ago, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You can check his channel, Derek Elliott. You see he used something like this. So since then, I think I saved this. So when I was about to work on this, I had to go back into my archive and pull out this and try it out. And it actually works really well. And it gave me a result that I actually love. So what I did basically was trace out these shapes, traced it out, applied subdivision surface, you know, and some bevels to it. And yeah, and that was all. Then after that, before I go ahead to the materials, I will first explain. You see the camera motion here is just the camera is just moving out. It's focused on the lens, then moving out and having this kind of rotation, then pulling out again to kind of like give us a side view of the animation. You will see the my graph editor here, and you see how everything is. I can't really explain it, but I was just, using a lot of the camera flow and how I wanted it to be. And that's all you're seeing right here. And like my principle, one animation do not finish before the other one starts. So except if I want it to be except if I want it to be like that, maybe for specific purpose, maybe you want the camera to be a bit look mechanical or something like that. So yeah, so for this lens, what I did was, let me just return it back to how it was. And this is how it was, the arrangement. So what I did basically was first to add a shape key on it. Then another thing was to keyframe the location or the position, anyhow you want to call it. So I moved it out, from the location to get out of the lens. But at the same time, I went in to the edit mode and pulled everything out, in a uniform with a uniform distance and saved it on this keyframe here. So when you move the value, it actually pulls out. So that was what I did. As this is going out, in the y-axis, I also had to use that what's it called, the shape key, to kind of like make it pull out, kind of like make it separate, and it gives this kind of like a very cool flow that you might not even really notice that something like that is happening. And then the at the end of the animation is just a reverse of what I did there. Yeah, so that's basically that. And let me go here. Let me just go to this. And as for this, it's just simple, you see, a simple glass material. And the animation is also the location, just pulling it out on the y-axis to kind of like match the flow of the lens. So basically what happened here is just we focus on the lens and camera Those are the basic animation that happened right here that are very significant. And the textures of the material, the glasses remains the same. This one is just a glass material with transmission turned on and roughness lowered. And we have I have two materials, the glass lining here, but it's black, so I made it black. It's not transparent. And also we have for this, it's a bit different. I use the glossy BSDF and mixed with the principal BSDF, where I turn the roughness to 0 and then the transmission weight to 1. So it's just a bit of mixing here and there, you see. And what I did was, create duplicates to mix the colors. This one has red, while this one is, let me go to the second one, is a bit bluish or purplish. That's this purple tint. And to give it that kind of variation, just for the aesthetic sake. So, and it was basically not really much, nothing big, nothing unusual, and it turned out well. The lighting played a huge role in this. And like I said, my lighting is just basically from that beginning, then just removing the ones that worked and the ones that does not work. So exactly, we have the top light, we have this side light, and this other side light. So you will see that that's what we have. Then we have this rim light. Some of them are really doing it's just as before. You see, I'm just highlighting the places that I want to be visible to the eyes. So that's just what I'm using the rim light to do, and that's actually worked perfectly for me. And that's basically that about this thing. Nothing much, and yeah, nothing much. The animation is just basically purely working on your graph editor. That's basically to make it smooth. So I'll go to the next one. Stay tuned. Yeah, so this is the next thing I will be discussing with you. And I think if you remember this tapping, I'm not sure if I should show you this, but let's go. This video might be longer than the previous ones because I really want to finish this series and move on to the next one because there's another breakdown that I'm supposed to work on. So you will see basically we have a hand tapping on the side, animated tapping on the side, then boom, it opens up. So yeah, this thinking process here is much more like something that one of my thinking process is letting my animation continue from the previous animation. Like you might not really see it, but it has a kind of like way to connect it. The tapping, then we have something like this opening, like reacting to the tapping, even though that's not the essence of the whole animation. But those are some of those connections that I make when trying to work on animation. So without wasting much of our time, this year I got a character from Mixamo, and the main character, what I did was I hid the main body using a mask here. If I turn off the mask, you see, this is the main body. So what I did as much as possible to get my scale right is kind of like scale the character you know, to fit into where the glasses is, to have a very accurate measurement and everything will not look off. The hand and everything, it will not look too small or too big. So that was what I did here. Then I used the mask modifier here. I selected a part, you know, a part of the mesh, selected a part of the mesh, and what I did with those parts was I assigned a vertex group to them and used them as a mask right here. I called it mask there. You see, this is mask. So I use it here. So what this does is it removes, it marks it out. It marks it out. So let me show you something how it works. So let me You see, the ones that I actually selected are the ones that are actually showing. So it just marks off the ones that are not relevant to me, and it removes them. So you can do this for vertex group, and you can also do this for your rig also. But in this scenario, it works well for my vertex group for the mesh itself. So I went for this. Then after doing that, I had to turn the rig, into a usable rig using Mixamo add-on, and then I animated it by framing all the control, what's it called? Let's say control points, forgetting the name. So I use the control to animate it, like move it like how a normal hand, we do. And everything was done. You will see a lot of um, even the hands that were not, doing the tapping. I had to make sure they were moving because I used my hand as a reference, real life reference, and I saw that the reaction will pass to other fingers also, especially when they are even showing on the screen. Because I had to, I think I did a bit of, I ignored this last finger over here, and I didn't do much because it was not really on screen, and so that was what I did. Animated them. Let me just go into this. You will see it. So you see basically the animation. This was how it is, and so before this, they were in form of like a block animation. It was not smooth like this. Then I changed it to Bezier curve to kind of like create a more smoother workflow. So that's basically that for this one. And yeah, so that's basically it for this. And also, there was no really any animation on the glasses on the temple during the tap, and it was after the tap then I separated it, these two, and I had to model a create a panel, a visual representation. So the panel is just basically a plane with solidify modifier. Then I just added a texture to it. Let me select the texture. You see, it's just PCB material texture, and let me show you. This is the PCB material texture. Then what I did was, added some relevant chips on it to break it because it's repeating. So you might not see it, but I had to do that to break it. And since that's not the major focus, I had to make them a bit subtle. And what we want people to see in this point here is actually the 32 gigabyte RAM memory. So that was why I also added some lights here to direct your eyes. You look straight to this place, and before the animation goes out, you see this 32 gigabyte memory. So that's basically one of the things I did here, because in the real gadget, this light right here should be at the front, at the other end, but for the sake of this project, this has to be done. And yeah, so make sure you align with your client before you do things like this. So that's just basically it. And we have inside this space, I had to model some buttons and everything to kind of like imitate how it actually looks like in real life. Then I animated each of these buttons here. You see they were animated, moved up, and I made sure you will see that. Okay, let me show you something. A lot of what I did here was using shape keys because I didn't want to separate this mesh over here, these two mesh. So what I did was kind of like created this key whereby I can use to move each of it to this mesh around. So, and frame them to kind of like give me more control. I would say give me more control, except if I want to do something like rotation. Well, I could do it if I want to. So I didn't want to separate it. Then I had to use that for it because I don't want to parent them to this, and I still want them to be able to move or do any, what's it called, any animation I actually assign to that mesh over there. So that was basically it. For the texture here, yeah, there's something. You see that I have the Windows key and the power key. So they were textures. They were image textures, which I just maxed on it. This was the same thing I used in the beginning, the first video where I did the KATLOS logo. So it was exactly the same technique, just with a bit of difference and everything. So that was, if you go back to that one, you will understand what I did. It's just the same thing. So that's just what we have. That's what we have here. It's nothing. And I also, animated the screw to come out because basically without the screw coming out, it cannot be, cannot detach. So you have to pay. It's just about paying attention to details. I had to move the screw up, and you will see that it went out first before detaching it from that place. And yeah, so that was basically what I did. And we have some, just a chrome metal on this thing, or silver metal on it. That's just it's the same texture as this. So yeah, basically that's just it for this scene. We'll go to the next one in the next video. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like it, if you like this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with others. Thank you very much. Bye for now.